Hello friends, welcome back to the Citizen Geek channel. As always, I am your host, Matty G. Now, since I've started this channel, most of the movies that I've talked about with you have been bigger films that have gotten really wide releases or have gotten a lot of really strong critical reviews or, Oscar buzz. They're movies that you probably have already heard about before I talked about them. Regardless of what I said about them, you probably already knew about these movies and whether or not you were going to see them. While you may enjoy hearing my opinion about them, I probably haven't really opened your eyes to anything yet. And one of the things that I love about being a film geek and really getting into film is finding movies that don't get that kind of buzz or press or interest. I like finding movies that people haven't heard about and then kind of putting them out there and recommending them to people and letting people know about these movies that they otherwise may not have heard about. So thinking about that, I decided that it was about time I did something like that on this channel. So with that being said, I proudly present to you the newest segment of Citizen Geek, Matty G's Under the Radar Recommendations. Now in each of these segments, I'm going to pick a couple movies that I think, for whatever reason, didn't really get a big release or just haven't really found the kind of audience that I feel they deserve. These are movies you may not have heard about, but that I really think deserve your time and attention, and I think they're movies that you're probably going to enjoy a lot. So let's start off with the first movie I chose for this segment. It's a movie called Spring. Now, I really like to find movies that are unique and don't really feel like anything else. That's a rare thing to find these days. And when I find a movie that not only feels that way, but that pulls it off and really works, I have to let people know about it. And Spring is, one of those movies. I can't remember seeing a movie like Spring before. It's kind of this weird but cool, mix of romance and horror that shouldn't work, but it absolutely does, and it's amazing. In Spring, we follow the main character of Evan, played by Lou Taylor Pucci. Evan is a young man who has recently lost both of his parents, and he, at this point in his life, just kind of feels adrift and lost and doesn't really know what his next move should be. So he decides that he just needs to get away from everything for a while. And on a whim, he takes off to Italy just to spend some time there, just kind of bumming around and, maybe trying to find himself or just get away from things for a while. And while he's there, he meets this stunningly beautiful woman named Louise, played by Nadia Hilker. He's immediately drawn to her. She kind of immediately propositions him for sex, which kind of throws him off. He tries to get her to agree to go on a date with him. She's kind of like, I don't know about that. But finally, she kind of relents. She's like, all right. And so we kind of follow them around this beautiful little Italian town as they just kind of hang out and talk and start revealing things about their lives and themselves to one another and really just start to kind of fall for each other, This is probably the most well-told and engaging love story that I've seen so far this year. For a while, this movie kind of plays along the lines with something like Richard Linklater's Before Sunrise, which I know other people have compared it to before, but it definitely feels like that for a while because we kind of follow these two characters as they kind of go around this just beautiful little Italian town and talk and get to know one another and open up to one another and tell each other about their lives and about things that they've done as they really kind of start to fall for one another. But like I said, this isn't just a romance. This movie has a dark side to it. I don't want to go too deep into it. I don't want to spoil anything, but as what we kind of are shown as it starts to go on, Louise, the girl, has some secrets. There are some things about herself that she doesn't really want anybody else to know. And we kind of start to find out more about who she really is. And just where the story goes from there is just really kind of amazing. The cinematography in the movie is beautiful. It has kind of this slightly hazy quality to it that kind of makes it feel like everything we're watching is almost like a dream of some sort. It also has this really beautiful, evocative score. But the thing that really makes this movie work so well, aside from some really great writing, is just the chemistry between these two characters. They're so likable and they fit so well with each other that we really start to fall for them too and really root for them. And some of the twists start to happen and some of the bigger stuff starts to be revealed. We we're pulled into it, and we start to worry for these characters. We really want to see them find a way to work things out and deal with what's going on and find a way to make things work so they can be together. It's kind of an amazing feat that it would be hard for anybody to pull off, but because these actors are so good and they have so much chemistry, and the movie's so beautiful and it's well written, and just everything comes together in such a way that it's just impossible not to be pulled in and deeply moved by this film. I love this movie so much. It's easily one of the best movies I've seen this year. I would probably rank it like in my top 3 at this point. It's a beautifully told love story that's not afraid to go down some really dark and intriguing places. If you are a fan of movies that are a bit left of center, do yourself a favor and please check out Spring. Okay guys, so the second movie that I chose for this segment is a movie called When Marnie Was There. When Marnie Was There is the most recent film put out by Studio Ghibli, the amazing Japanese animation company that has previously put out the films of Hayao Miyazaki, such as movies like Spirited Away, Ponyo, Kiki's Delivery Service, My Neighbor Totoro. They've also put out some other movies like My Neighbors the Yamadas, The Tale of the Princess Kaguya. They're kind of the Japanese equivalent of Disney. When Marnie Was There kind of falls into more of the more realistic, toned down style, more of like a human drama, kind of in the vein of like Whisper of the Heart and From Up on Poppy Hill. It tells the story of a young girl named Anna who is very closed off from the rest of the world. She's adopted, she has asthma, she doesn't feel good about herself. She feels like an outcast. She feels like she's just ostracized from everybody. She kind of makes herself ostracized from everybody. And her foster mother is really worried about this and feels like she needs to get away for a while. So she sends her out to the country to kind of live with her aunt and uncle for a little while to just kind of get away from things and kind of get some fresh air and some new scenery. As Anna kind of goes around exploring this little country town, she discovers this old, kind of rundown mansion. It's kind of hidden away on the other side of this marsh. And at first, when she first checks it out, it just looks abandoned and like it's been in disrepair for a while. But then Anna starts having these dreams where she imagines this young blonde girl about the same age as her living there. So she kind of starts sneaking out at night to check it out. When she gets there at night, she discovers that it looks completely different. Now it's like big and beautiful, and people are there. And Anna ends up meeting this girl that she's seen in her dreams, and this girl named Marnie. And the two of them start to hang out, and Marnie ends up kind of becoming Anna's like one real friend. And the two of them end up forming this really strong bond with one another. Now, like Spring did, Marnie has kind of a supernatural twist to it, and Marnie herself has some secrets she's kind of keeping from Anna. And over the course of the movie, Anna starts finding out more about Marnie and what's really going on with her and who Marnie is. We kind of follow Anna. She kind of starts to unravel the secret of Marnie and her family and this house and what's really going on. I've always loved Studio Ghibli movies. To me, they're movies that if I want to feel good about life, I can put one on and it just makes me just feel so good about everything. The animation is just so beautiful. Their movies end up being these like beautiful little works of art that you just kind of want to just fall into and just live in, you know. And if you're in the city like I am right now, it really makes you kind of yearn for just kind of going out and being in the country, you know, and finding a place like this. There's a very bittersweet quality to this film. This isn't like a traditional kind of like happy ending story. There's some really kind of tragic events that we kind of find out about as the movie goes on. Some really sad things that have happened. But it's also bittersweet on this other real world level, because in the real world, this is the last film that Studio Ghibli is going to be making for the foreseeable future. They're kind of closing their doors indefinitely, and some people are wondering if this means this is really going to be the end of Studio Ghibli. Some people are saying that that's not the case, that this is actually something that a lot of Japanese animation studios or movie studios will do occasionally. They'll just kind of shut everything down for a little while and just kind of go off and kind of refigure themselves. But at this point, it's kind of up in the air. At the very least, it's probably going to be the last one that we get for a while. It's really sad that this is going to be the last movie that we get from them for the foreseeable future, but that's all the more reason to embrace it and check it out. I know a lot of you guys out there that are watching this probably haven't checked out Studio Ghibli movies. I think that When Marnie Was There is the kind of movie that Studio Ghibli makes that doesn't get as much play in the US as some of their more fantastical films like Spirited Away or Ponyo or Princess Mononoke, because this is so much more grounded in reality, even though it does have kind of a fantastical element to it. While I don't necessarily think this is one of their greatest movies, it still has that unmistakable Studio Ghibli quality to it. And if this is going to be the last one that we get from them in a while, then, you know, I think we should really embrace it and celebrate it. If this movie ends up being the capper to Studio Ghibli's legacy, you know, they went out strong. When Marnie Was There is kind of a film about what it means to be alive, and really kind of the power of friendship and how important that is in life, and kind of how important putting yourself out there and not being afraid to let people know who you are and what your feelings are. It's a movie that's definitely worth checking out. Alright guys, so for my last pick today, I'm going to be choosing something that's a little different than the previous ones. It's a movie called Starleaf. This is a movie about weed and aliens. You know, I think for a lot of people, that pretty much sells it right there. If you need to know more, basically the plot of the movie is these three friends end up traveling up to Washington State in order to find this supposedly really special, amazing kind of weed that gets you crazy high. There's a legend of this weed though. The reason why this weed is supposedly so good is because it was actually cultivated by an alien race, and the aliens kind of use it as a test to figure out, you know, if you're kind of worthy to find out the true secrets of the universe. At this point, based on the description that I gave you, you're probably going to know whether this movie is for you or not. This is unapologetically just a super silly, super low budget, but really kind of fun stoner comedy that also has a bit of a horror element too. You know, the characters end up kind of finding themselves stalked throughout the woods by these potential alien beings. It's one of those things, it's kind of like, are they really there, or are these guys just so super high that they're just seeing all this crazy stuff? And the movie has a lot of fun with that too. And one thing that I've found that really kind of separates this movie from a lot of these other like really super low budget kind of like horror comedies that are usually pretty terrible is the cast. I actually really like the cast in this movie. Three lead actors I thought all did a surprisingly good job, not just in terms of their overall acting ability, but in terms of kind of selling us on these characters. I actually kind of found myself liking these characters a lot more than I thought I was going to at the beginning of the movie. And so, even to the point where like when some of them start to potentially find themselves in danger, I was actually kind of worried for them and kind of hoping that like, you know, they'd get out of it and that things would be okay in the end. You see so many movies kind of in this vein, these kind of uber low budget like sci-fi horror or comedy movies that, you know, are just terrible and, you know, just not worth your time. And Starleaf ends up being kind of a really nice surprise. You really get the sense watching the movie that the people who made it were having a really good time, and you want the audience to kind of share in that really good time. And that's infectious, you know? And a lot of these smaller movies, you don't get that vibe, and that's why they're just so unwatchable. But I actually found this movie to be really fun. I'm not trying to oversell it, you know, it is what it is. It is very much a super low budget stoner comedy that's also kind of an alien thriller. And you know, sometimes you just kind of want to kick back and watch just a super silly fun movie like that. You know, Starleaf is the perfect kind of movie that you can just put on with some friends and just have a good time. You know, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna have fun. And sometimes that's all you want from a movie. And if that's what you're looking for, then Starleaf is a really good choice. Alright guys, thanks very much for joining me again on Citizen Geek. I hope you enjoyed this new kind of segment. You know, I'm trying new things right now. Let me know what you thought. And I really hope you guys check these movies out. So if you end up seeing any of them, please let me know what you think. If you have any recommendations for me of movies that you think deserve to be seen by more people and really kind of deserve to have the word put out there, let me know. And if I like them too, then maybe I can put them in a future segment for this. I'm having a lot of fun doing this, so I hope you guys are too. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Thanks very much for the support. As always, I really appreciate it. Please continue to watch. Leave a comment below, let me know what you think. Like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy what I do. Thanks very much, guys. Take care, and I will see you again real soon.